People, it's my birthday, and no, I don't mean my real birthday, that is not for some weeks. I mean my birthday in Poland. It's been already 10 years. Without realizing it, time has gone by and I'm already in Poland for 10 years. 10 wonderful, difficult, amazing, creepy years. And of course I didn't want to miss the opportunity. I wanted to create a video to take stock of all this time here in Poland, a whole life. And it's true that you don't have to live in a different country to change for 10 years, because everybody during 10 years, for sure you've changed a lot. And I would like to reflect on the aspects that in 2011 seemed very shocking to me or seemed different. They looked completely different from my culture. And today I'm completely accustomed. And actually now I feel like I'm on the other side of the mirror, and things that seemed to me normal in Spain now, they seemed odd. And actually these aspects, I think they changed my personality all through these years. And I'm gonna tell you why. The aspect that I consider to be the one that has changed my personality the most is the lack of light. And I have to be frank, at the beginning I didn't think it was something that was affecting me that much, but I saw the rest of the people being affected to it strongly. After that I started to be aware of how it was affecting me mentally and physically. It's like creating two different characters. There are two different characters inside your personality. In summer, you feel like nothing stops you. You feel like doing things. You are full of energy. You want to go out, get to the city, live the city, meet with people. You don't feel sleepy at all, and the city is full of things that you could do. Of course, I live in Warsaw, I have to say, and in summer you have so many things. You can go for walks, you have such amount of greenery everywhere, you have parks, you can meet with people outside. And during summer I feel like in Spain, because I come from the south of Spain, and you don't really feel any changes in your mood. In Spain I didn't ever felt like I was lacking of energy. I always wanted to do things, so I felt like doing things. And when it started raining, it was something unusual, and so you feel like, okay, this is very cozy, I really like rainy days, we can stay at home. Every morning when you wake up and you look at the sky and it's blue, it means that you could be sure that it will stay blue the whole day. There are very low chances that it will rain or it will be a changey weather. No, that won't happen in the south of Spain. But then autumn comes to Warsaw, and I had to discover a new part of my personality that I didn't know before. And it's a creature I didn't know in Spain. But I don't know if it's because I'm older, and of course if you're older you are lacking of more energy. Then when I lived in Spain I was 23, so what kind of energy would be lacking if you're 23? None. But then autumn comes to Poland, to Warsaw, and you are feeling lacking of energy. I wasn't used to waking up and feeling sleepy the whole day, and it's something that is really common through all these months of autumn and winter here. And you have to be a little bit more self-aware of your mental state and physical state and start taking, for example, vitamin pills, something I didn't do in Spain, of course, in order to boost your energy. Because if you ignore these signs, you can gradually get into this low energy bubble and you can start developing depression. And it's something that happened to me actually for some years. The first year, weather wasn't affecting me. The second year, weather wasn't affecting me. And the third year, I started thinking that I was denying the fact that it was really affecting me. And I really had to learn how to develop these tools in order to battle this monster that depression is. And I guess it happens in every country where light levels are low, but I've never lived in Sweden or Norway or a country like that, so I cannot compare. I just know in Spain I didn't have this problem with lack of light. Because less light means more time spending at home. More time spending at home means less contact with people, and less contact with people equals depression. Actually, I think I will end up making a video about how I had to struggle with depression, because being a Spanish guy, not having the tools or skills that you guys have in Poland, it's tough. In fact, in Spain it's the opposite, and any self-respected house in Spain has blinds to cover the light and to dim the amount of light that enters your house. And even if you don't believe it, Spanish people are allergic to light, because there is such an amount of light that enters your house that you really need to dim it a little bit. I think after 10 years I developed some tools I didn't have, some skills in order to manage this influence that weather has on me. Okay, it's changing completely the topic. I remember when I came to Poland, I found some things so cheap. And I had the vision of a tourist, that you go to a foreign country and you see prices and are like, oh my god, what is this? And it was a big surprise in 2011 how some basic products are very cheap in Poland. Although the vision I have about it nowadays is completely different. I really changed my mind. For example, heating your house in winter. Now I'm talking with my friends and my family in Spain, and they often tell me that the price of electricity now is skyrocketing in Spain, so they are experiencing an energy crisis. Many people cannot afford nowadays paying for the electricity bill with such abusive prices in Spain, and they decide not to turn on the heating in winter. So how does it work in Spain? You turn it on for some hours, the heating, and you leave it for some hours, but then you turn it off in order not to pay such an amount of money. And then you have to shut down your house completely so that the heat doesn't leave your house. So I was surprised in Poland with the concept of central heating, something completely new to me and so logical. Heating is cheap, it's so cheap in Poland, and there is no other option in a country that it's so cold. In a country that has such harsh temperatures in winter and autumn, there is no other choice. You have to have this. Because heating is not an added good like in Spain. It's something basic, and it has to be basic for every citizen. Here the heating network is always working and it's shared by the whole building, and you decide whether to turn it on or off. And I was so surprised that I could be in my short sleeves even in winter when it was minus 20 degrees outside. That was so inconceivable. And after 10 years, this is the normality for me. Like, it's normal to feel cozy at home. It's normal to feel warm at home. This is not a basic need that you need to decide whether you have to cover it or not. It's something that you have to have. You don't have to turn on and off the heating just worried if you're gonna pay so much at the end of the month. Doesn't make any sense, guys. Another thing that I was really surprised with, and now I find completely normal, I got used to it, is the price of the telephone bill and the internet. In Spain, at least in 2011, when you wanted to have a cell phone, it was really expensive. I remember that the phone bill was something you were scared of, and it was something you were trying to control, because it could really be a surcharge at the end of the month. And it could be a big part of your salary. I mean, I didn't have any salary in Spain because I started working here in Poland. But as a student, I remember I wasn't calling much anyone. And here all of a sudden it was fine. I could call whoever and the telephone bill was always low, which was fantastic. Well, now I don't know if it's really a change because I haven't lived in Spain, so maybe it has changed. Another thing is internet connection. I remember in Spain trying to find the perfect spot to get a good internet connection. And also when you contracted a certain speed, internet speed, you didn't get what you paid for. And then I came here. I don't know if it's because it's a capital, but the internet was always good. It has always been good. The speed was always higher. Everything always went faster. I got internet anywhere, and also you don't have to pay a lot for the internet bill. And when I've been to Spain, I didn't really notice any improvement. It's also true that I didn't use internet in Madrid or Barcelona, but it was in some towns, but it was dreadful. 10 years have gone by, guys. Can have some improvement, right? But after 10 years, I got used to this reality, the Polish reality. And for me, internet is what I have every day. And when I go to Spain, I really notice the difference. But let's also give some negative aspects that I found in Poland. Some other things that I really didn't like when I came to Poland. There are some things that I would like to claim or complain. This is gonna be a rant. While some basic services surprised me because of the quality and low price, others surprised me because you spend half of your salary on them. Being a tourist in Poland is a bargain. You feel like a millionaire. You can spend on anything you want. you have money. But let's be honest, I've never been a tourist in Poland. When I came to Poland, I didn't have money. I started from square one, so I was playing the same rules as any Polish citizen. So I didn't have this feeling of a millionaire that many tourists have when you come to Poland. And unless you work for a private company, an international private company, your salary will be low. And you can tell me, okay, but you're comparing the salaries with Germany, with Sweden, with Spain, and they earn more, but also prices are higher. Well, the fact is that I don't consider prices to be that low in Poland. And actually some things cost the same as in Spain. Some things cost the same as in Spain, but you don't earn the same as in Spain. So it doesn't really make any sense. And now I'm talking about housing. I don't know if it's because I'm living in Warsaw and it's a capital, but paying for the rent is abusive. If you're single, you cannot survive on your own here. I mean in normal conditions. You will be renting a room, you have to have someone to share a flat with. Yeah, okay, you can work in an international company and things will change, but normally this is not the case. And then it's very interesting because when I speak to my friends in Spain and they tell me what they pay for their rent, I have to pay the same amount of money and I earn maybe half of the salary. But maybe this is because I live in the capital and this is the reality when you live in Warsaw. Although I don't really think it's different in the rest of Poland. And my friends are paying this amount of money for a flat of, I don't know, 80 square meters. And this, for example, this flat is 37 square meters. So space is not something you should be taking into account if you want to live in Poland. You're not gonna get a lot of space. Okay, I know if you live in the village, I've seen houses of people that live in the village in, I don't know, in Białowieża and somewhere. So if you're single in Warsaw, you are screwed up. You cannot pay for this flat on your own, and I couldn't be able to afford this flat if I wasn't living with my partner, actually. I should move somewhere and share a flat with some flatmates, I don't know. So I think that changed my perception of space, because in Spain I was used to living in a big house. When I was a kid, I lived in an amazing house, and I couldn't even consider living somewhere small or a small flat. And now for me the reality has completely changed, and having a house or lots of space for me is it's a luxury. Actually, I would like to have a studio in which I could record my videos of YouTube, but I just have this room. We have a small room and a small kitchen, and that's it. And you have to live with that. And it was something I had when I was a kid. I didn't really appreciate. But frankly, I think that is the case also in Madrid. One element that really changed me and surprised me, and I really think it has influenced my personality, it has been living in the middle of a forest. Since I came here, I've been living in different neighborhoods, and I've always been like 5 minutes away from any forest. You can go for strolls, you can meditate, you can do some work of introspection anywhere. And I'm talking about Warsaw. This is a capital and it's surrounded by forests, or there is a park, or you are close to, I don't know, a body of water. And this is not just the capital, because I've been traveling around Poland and I've seen that this is a reality for the whole country. And I don't take it for granted, because in Spain, I remember it wasn't like that. It wasn't a necessity that I had when I arrived, because I remember in Spain, if you wanted to go to nature, you had to get the car and it would take you somewhere to a national park or the woods, because we do have woods in Spain, okay? It's not the dry land that you think Spain is. But here I have the feeling that they build the city in a forest. They decided, okay, there are many trees, let's start cutting off trees and build the city in here. And the parks that you find here, they are not parks that they created artificially. They were part of the forest one day. And it's wonderful, because every season gives you a different landscape, and it allows you to relax and get away from this hustle bustle and escape from everything. So when you think you're gonna get crazy, you can always escape and go for a walk, and it's really therapeutical. Can you say that? Therapeutical? You say that? I have to admit that I'm not a nature addict. If I travel, if I go to a different country, I never go on these trips to the nature. This is not me. I mean, if I go sightseeing, I wouldn't go to the mountains or to the forest. I would go to the city and the cultural aspect and museums, and I like that. And gastronomy. Gastronomy always above all. Even so, I have to admit that I've often been saved from my own madness just going for a walk among the trees. And I consider it to be one of the greatest discoveries in order to heal from depression. Having a forest to go and do some therapy, introspection and journaling. I would go for a walk, I would take my notebooks, lie and write my thoughts and heal. So it was a necessity I didn't have when I arrived, but now I do have it. I really need it. I need to go for a walk. I actually, every day, I go for walks. Okay, so in Spain I didn't have the need for the woods, but I had a different kind of need for the beach. Maybe that hasn't changed, having the coast at your fingertips. You really need it. If you've been going to the Spanish coast, you really need it. It's something inside of you. And when I lived in Granada, I had the coast an hour away in every direction. And for me, the word holiday revolved around the beach and everything you can do in a city near the coast. Beach and swimming pool. Many Poles are really surprised when I tell them that in Spain having a swimming pool at home is nothing strange. It's not a luxury. It's something many people have. It's not a luxury. It's a right. And even if you don't have it at home, in your village probably you will have a public swimming pool and you would be able to afford going to the swimming pool to learn how to swim. It's a basic need. And here in Warsaw I noticed that they are extremely expensive compared to the ones in Spain. So I had to stop considering going to a swimming pool, and it was something I really liked in Spain and I would like to retake. And the whole beach experience, not Sopot, not Gdańsk, not Jelitkovo, it's a different experience in Spain. When you go to the south of Spain and I don't know, I just miss it. I love it. But you have a forest. You have a forest, okay? I've been thinking about many things that could have changed me, and one of the main aspects of this change has been not needing a car. I don't mean that Polish people are not obsessed with having cars, because it's true. And I don't understand the obsession that people have with cars in Warsaw. The priority here is not people, it's not pedestrians, but cars. And you have car parks everywhere. And actually you're wasting so much public space for people to park. You have such a beautiful square, Plac Konstytucji. I love it. Okay, you can tell me, Plac Konstytucji, what are you talking about? It's an amazing square and it's full of parking lots. What are you even doing here? And something I don't understand is that drivers here don't respect anything or anyone. Even when the traffic light is green, they are waiting for you to, not to cross, to get out of the way, to just continue driving. And I even know cases of roadkill and people being run over by cars in Warsaw because they think they are the bosses of the road. And why am I complaining? Because in Warsaw you don't need a car. You have the most amazing public transportation in Warsaw. With this, my astonishment doesn't extrapolate to the rest of the country because I just don't know. I guess if you don't live in Warsaw and you live in a village, it's not gonna be the same. You don't have such good connections. But the public transport system is fantastic, and you can even go around without cars your whole life and not even considering buying any car in your life. And in Spain, I used to drive. I have my driving license. I miss driving in a way, but you had a driving license because you didn't have any other way. I used to live in a small village that it was like 15 minutes away from the main city, Granada. And in order to get to the capital, you had to start a whole odyssey because you had to wait 45 minutes for a bus in order to get you to the center. That is 15 minutes away. Didn't make any sense. So you needed a car. You really needed a car to get to anywhere. But yet, if you had a car, you couldn't find parking anywhere. But here in Warsaw, I was so shocked that you had trams and buses and trains and the metro system. And you had a car and you could just get to any public transportation. It could take you from one side of the town to a completely opposite side of the town. And it was cheap, relatively cheap, let's say. So everything was so perfectly connected that it was a blessing for me. It was blessed glory. But you can get used to any good thing in your life. So now I'm used to this, and when I go back to Spain, I feel despair. If you don't have a car, you are completely lost because you cannot really walk from one place to another. It's impossible, and waiting for buses is... Oh God. And sometimes I notice some people here whining about the public transport, and I'm like, Don't complain. You don't have anything to complain about. Okay, but yet I don't know if it's the same in Zamość or in Radom, and probably in Madrid you have an amazing connection. And why did it change my personality? If you want to get to any place in the town, you can do it. Well, now we are in this kind of time of pandemic that you can't really do it. If you want to go to a Georgian restaurant, you can just get the bus and get there and eat amazing Georgian food, or go to an exhibition or whatever. The world is your oyster. Also, I think I developed this sense of location, being able to know where to go and where I am, because I was very bad. So I'm really grateful, and I wouldn't change living in a big city for anything in the world. Probably in 5 years I will be recording a video telling you, oh guys, I want to live in the countryside because, I don't know, I'm very changey. But now I prefer to have options, okay? And that was it, guys. I've really seen how these 10 years have passed like very quickly, and it really changed the way I deal with life in many regards. There were more elements that I wanted to mention, more ways in which have changed, but I think I will talk about this in another video. Certainly the time that I spent living in Poland has been a journey and years to come, and I hope I can share more of these things with you guys another day. So happy anniversary to me, happy week to you guys, and see you next week here. Do widzenia!